Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for joining us on this lovely Thursday, the 27th day into the month of August 2020. Oh yes, just like we did promise you yesterday that we'll be coming back to take you through for yet another edition of the first show. My beautiful name is Chris Makanga and I'm super excited. Thursdays are usually my best days in the week, and I know good things are prone happening today. Well, if you have just joined us, it is a big pleasure, by the way, to have you on the show, and we are here to bring you all those stories that made rounds of headlines yesterday. Well, for those of you that have just joined this show for your very first time, don't you get yourself wondering that who are these people? Who is this guy? Well, just told you my name, and our job is to talk about current affairs. We do have sports, business, and lots of more other things that come across. And our primary job as well is to get you informed on daily issues that run around in Uganda and outside the country. However, I'm not doing this show alone either. I'm always with a beautiful lady, and she's...
It is not a however. My name is Latifah Hamid, and I repeat, I am not a however. My name is Latifah Hamid, and this is the first show. You're most welcome. I am glad to have you on board. For those who have just joined us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, we're glad you could be with us today, a Thursday morning when we are headed to a Friday. Now remember, Friday are one of our very fun days when we have major activities ranging from a little bit of fun with Dr. Mondo. He makes sure we dance, and of course Chris has work dance moves, but he tries. And then we come back to the studios where we have Dr. Mondo interview a musician. We get to at least look at the different part of him away from music. What else does he have to offer? Is he smart enough? Is he business-wise smart enough? Are the things that we dwell in as we are in this first show. Now today we'll be discussing a number of issues, and definitely, you know it, I know it, coronavirus is not going to miss in our discussion. But today we're bringing solutions and not problems. 2,562 cases in Uganda and 26 deaths registered is a big number. So don't get tired when we talk about COVID-19, because we bring you today good news by the Doctors Association that are going to tell you the solution that they have for the country. Simon, Chris.
Yeah, truth. Doctors said something. For the longest time, we've been waiting for them to say something on what measures the country will have to take in the way of combating COVID-19 in the country. Besides that, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You're smart, though.
Oh, thank you. When you have two people work on you at the same time, you will definitely be smart.
My collection.
My face has gotten a little bit of a first beat from Brush by Burns, and then my clothes are JB collection, and I'll be reading their numbers later on. If you want a simple first beat for work, or you want to look good in yellow, any other color, literally JB doesn't deal in yellow alone.
Looking at you, I didn't know you could look different. Anyways, you're looking extremely different compared to other days.
Not extremely different. I just look a little bit extra. You know, when you have an extra bead on your face, you look a little bit extra. Yes, but I'm in a beautiful without makeup either way.
Anyways, how was your night?
Well, my night was amazing. I woke up to the news of FDC, Kizza Besigye, political arenas, politics, and a lot more politics, because at the end of the day, with the country going into elections very soon, and the fact that we're going to go and put our ballot papers and tick the person who we want to be our next president in 2021 to 2025, we have a milestone. We need to sleep, drink, eat, and dream about these elections vis-a-vis coronavirus, because those are the two things that are literally setting the agenda of discussion for us as Ugandans, and also as citizens and politicians who want to be part of these elections.
Well, speaking about stories that made rounds of headlines yesterday, and it's our job to scrutinize those big stories. And yesterday, police tear gassed people in Mbale, supporters of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. That is one of the big stories that we are going to be discussing today. Well, Bobby Wine had gone to Mbale, and he had to go to Grade 1 Magistrate Court in Mbale, where he had where the court ruling was adjourned by the local, I beg your pardon, Robert Chagulanyi had gone to Mbale in a court hearing
wait.
he had a case accusing 5...
Simon Chris, wait.
No.
Listen to what I'm going to say. And then
let me first tell the public what exactly happened in Mbale.
Go ahead. I was trying to help in this
Robert
situation.
Chagulanyi had gone to Mbale where he had a case hearing. He is accusing 5 top police officers or security officers in Mbale of stopping him on going onto a local radio station where he had to go and address the masses. Well, the court ruling was adjourned, and then later on it was not given any date on whether he's supposed to go back for another hearing.
See, the thing about this case is that Bobby Wine had a talk show in Ginger. And Bobby Wine coordinators, NUP coordinators, had said that they had written a letter to police saying that they wanted to hold a talk show. And the radio station itself said they had held on and on and on different talk shows, different meetings with the police telling them that Bobby Wine is coming to Mbale to have a talk show. Now, we saw that when Bobby Wine was supposed to be in Mbale, what happened was there was tear gas on that day when Bobby Wine was supposed to be in Bali. People were arrested, people were beaten, tear gas and live bullets were used in that particular session. And then Bobby Wine came up to say he is suing the IGP, Mr. Martin Ochola, in regard to this particular case. And he's saying that Martin Ochola, together with the police officers who were part of stopping his talk show, need to face the law, for he applied to talk in that particular radio station. Now, what happened yesterday was a replica of what happened on that day. There was tear gas and there was red berets chanting NUP, people power, and there were live bullets that were being shot. Now, here where we are is we are trying, because Simon Chris, when I come on this talk show, my question is, what are the solutions that we have as people power supporters and as NUP? What are we doing? Because we're going to end up being like Besije. There's no organization, but there's a lot of tear gas, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of bullets. Now, the Mbale Regional Police Commander said that by the time he went to the site, there was no social distancing, people did not have masks, and there were too many people on ground. Now, we have discussed this before, politics vis-a-vis COVID-19. And we've said that at this point in time, we're looking at a solution, not a blame game. I have totally and completely on this show said that we shouldn't play a blame game. How would it be if people power supporters decide to stay home and let Bobby Wine do what he ought to do as the upcoming president of the nation? Because Simon Chris, the more we go to where Bobby Wine is, the more he's going to be unable to address the nation the way he ought to.
I think that is very true, and you cannot stop the fans.
No, you can't. Of course, you can't.
From congesting or from going to any place where Bobby Wine is. That is a fact. I think it's just natural that wherever he goes, there will always be a big following. But now, looking at the case that was going on in the Mbale court, the grade 1 magistrate Andrew Katurubuki adjourned the court hearing to any other date that was not mentioned. So we don't know whether the court hearing will again appear after COVID-19 is done, because according to him, he said that nothing could go on. The fact that none of the people power supporters had masks on them, even those at outside that had gathered and that attributed to the chaos that happened there, they had violated the SOPs that were put in place by the Ministry of Health. So according to him, now
that is what I'm trying to say. See, Simon Chris, when you want something to happen, okay, you need to respect the rules that have been put in place. Now, these people power supporters who are passionate about Bobby Wine are saying that we want our president to address his issues, okay? But you're not going to have these issues addressed when he's going to a radio station. All of you go behind him and want to see him, You know, it wouldn't make sense, because now what is going to happen is his radio talk show is going to be stopped, and that means he will not address the nation, and that means only people in Mbale will see him and know that he's there. People who are behind him, people who are people power, but the other people who are in the other political parties and feel like we want to listen to what Robert Chagulanyi has to say, and we figure out, do we still want him as the president or not, are not going to have the chance to listen to him and gauge that for themselves. Now look at the case that is happening at the court, Simon Chris. Now these people who are supposed to let him go in, sit and get done with the case, disrupted it by being there. Now it has been extended to a date that we don't know, and more crimes have been added.
I think I'm looking forward to a date or a scenario where police will have to let Robert Chagulanyi express himself, whether a radio station, whether a TV station, whether people gather around him. I'm looking forward to that date.
Whether people gather around him is
because
not
we've
going
seen also
to happen.
NRM members hold procession and with the protection of Uganda police. So I'm looking forward to that day. And I'm looking forward to see what exactly will happen. I have said it,
and I will say it again, regardless of who says what, Simon Chris. Titandika with you. Okay, Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. Etandike now, we let the change start with you. Okay, now the NRM MPs who are putting on yellow like I do, but it doesn't mean that I'm NRM. The NRM MPs who are collecting people and standing in the middle without masks and addressing people and not even telling them that you guys are not supposed to converge in one place because of COVID-19, are already setting a bad precedent. Can NUP be an original opposition party that is unique, that stands out to show that, okay, if NRM is doing this, we shall do it different. We shall stand out different. We are the red flower that covers the green and yellow ground. We shall do it different. We shall do it in an organized manner. If Bobby Wine is coming, the coordinators should tell people, we love Bobby Wine and we are in support of Bobby Wine. But because there are rules that have been put, rules that are unfair or fair, that is not up to us to decide. Can we follow the SOPs? Tusigale waka, tumleke addressing the nation, and then we shall see him when we are able to. Now, when you set such a precedent as Bobby Wine, as people power, people respect who you are and respect the kind of leadership that you're bringing up.
It is not so lost on me. It was in 2017 when Robert Chagulanyi stood for Member of Parliament in where it comes from. And then I remember when he was doing the campaigns, he told his supporters that stay vigilant and stay calm, don't cause any chaos.
Yes.
And they listened to him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And I remember police was there to guide each and every one. So I want to, that's what I'm saying, I'm looking forward to that scenario where Bobby Wine tells his supporters that, guys, look, put on your mask. Whoever is coming, either on a border or by foot or by bicycle, whoever is coming to wherever I will be, make sure you have a mask on you. They may not maintain the social distancing, but let them at least maintain the other SOPs. Let them have masks, and then let them not cause any chaos. And then we see who is going to bring that chaos. Because police has always been accused of causing chaos. Because you cannot tear gas people and expect them to stay calm.
It's unfair, but when you provoke the police, that is what will happen. You understand? Police has set itself in a corner whereby we're protecting certain people and we're not protecting certain people. Now, do not provoke them, okay? Show them we are going to follow the SOPs. We are not going to be there. We're going to keep social distancing. Let us see where Abajakwe kwasa.
Let us
see where Abajakwe kwasa.
I don't see that happening, because
if they do that, then you have, you know, you have a reason to stand and protest. I will be among the NUP people who will stand and protest if they follow the rules and police still tear gases. Do you remember the issue that happened during the George Floyd time? And then US was protesting amidst the coronavirus situation. Now what happened was, there was also an issue of people in the US wanting the government to open up their economy. And they said, we are going to protest. Something happened in Libya and people said, we are going to protest. However, if you see the organization in which the procession happened, it was impressive. People were angry, people were mad, people wanted services to be put, people wanted things to be done. But what they did was, one person stood 2 meters away from the other. You remember that procession,
I remember
right?
that,
And they had
but then
it
it went so wild after the voting started.
But all I am trying, but all I'm trying to say is, at that time, you will definitely blame the police because, man, we followed the SOPs, but you came in and you decided to tear gas us. So all I'm saying is, can NUP be a youthful party that follows rules and then puts their hands behind their backs and tells police, you know, we have done our part, let's see what you'll do next. This is all I'm asking from NUP. We are very youthful, we are very energetic, we are very, you know, our blood is boiling, we are young.
I think,
but can we show NRM MPs what to do?
I think
can we show them how this thing needs to be done?
Whatever is happening, either in the NUP or
political
NRM
parties,
or
yes,
other political parties, is just a testing ground on what exactly is going to happen during the 2021 general elections and the campaigns. Because we cannot afford to see NRM guys or NRM members doing processions and being guided or protected by the forces, and then they're setting a precedent. But then who is supposed to set it? We have the incumbent.
You cannot, Chris, you cannot say because there is father and mother in a home and father is, you know, the head of the family, he's supposed to set the precedent. Mommy as well is supposed to show kids this is how things are supposed. No, I think we should go with embarrass them in their own home.
We should go with a saying.
I'm trying to say.
We should go with a saying that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Because we all know that COVID-19 is real. We all know that COVID-19 is present in this country. So we can't afford to see other people being treated fairly.
So what
it makes us think that in Uganda we have a Vyana Navana. We need to have a neutral ground where all of us are treated equally. Okay?
But are we going to do what the others are doing because we want to show these forces that you're supposed to treat us right? Let us have a politics of maturity when we are running politics in this country. It is time that we have a new, young, youthful leader that shows the old people how things are done. I mean, look at that kind of politics. That will be a beautiful one to see. That will be an amazing agenda set and a beautiful, and they'll even be embarrassed.
I don't see that happening in the country.
They'll be totally embarrassed when they see that happening.
I don't see that happening in this country because ente eyigiriza omwana gwayo buli kimu okutandika mu kulya until that calf gets to learn to sustain its own life. So katinga abana abato between the young generation, what have they been fed on? Quite a number of things. And you don't expect them to be different when their elders are doing the opposite of what is supposed to be done.
If your father is a drunkard, it doesn't set a line for you to grow up and be a drunkard. You should see that your father was a drunkard and he was beating up your mother, and it's time for you to change how things were in your home. It's time for you to walk the talk and show your dad and show your other family that what my dad did was wrong, and I will be different. I will show difference.
Let's hope the NUP National Unity Platform will try to change or make a difference in the political environment. I'm waiting for that day at least once in a lifetime, where Robert Chagulanyi would tell his supporters that, hey guys, let's put on the mask. I know life is more important than whatever is happening, either politically, social, or economically. Yes. Life is more important than all those sectors. So let's put on a mask, whether you're going to where Robert Chagulanyi is or not. Make sure you protect your life.
The Ministry of Health, with respect to COVID-19, are not being observed as there is no social distancing and there are many people in court. This court also takes cognizance of the directives of the Honorable Chief Justice with respect to handling court business.
Demo court nayenga masasi netia gas bivugano. Era tulina okulowooza nti omulamuzi naye bamuwadde orders from above kubanga aganye okuwulira omusango gwaffe tetukirabangako.
Egaana abapoliisi okutyobola eddembe ly'obuntu. Mu bufuzi omulamuzi agambye tajja tuwuliriza okutuusa nga ndowooza oba Uganda erangiridde nti COVID yaweddewo oba World Health Organization ng'erangiridde nti COVID yaweddeyo mu nsi kale tetukitegedde naye tujja kutula ne client waffe atuwa instructions empya.
Supporters being admitted in hospitals after this happened, and we've seen some of them being arrested, and the NUP party having to spend a lot of money to get lawyers and get them removed from the cells. However, this is what we are trying to say. What we are saying is that, you know, there's a lot happening in the people power arena, and we are trying to collect money to push Robert Kyagulanyi as the president of Uganda. However, if we keep spending money in treating people in hospitals and having tear gas people having to treat their eyes and having our supporters and our coordinators being put in cells, what are we doing? Are we pushing the party forward or are we pushing it behind? Let us look at the agenda that we want to set as people power and the precedent and the example that we want to set, and then do it and then lead this country the way it's supposed to be led. We saw FDC doing the same, but has anything changed?
Nothing.
We've seen Besuja being tear gassed, but nothing has changed that. We've seen FDC supporters being beaten, but nothing has changed that. And we know that at the end of the day, you're still going to be beaten because it's what the opposition has gone through in this country. But can we at least have a ground of saying we tried our best and they still beat us?
Yeah. Well, moving on to another story. Yesterday, or on Tuesday, the party president, National Unity Platform, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, sacked Samuel Walter Mukakulubega mu kifo kya chairman wa electoral committee ku kibiina kya NUP. Wabula olunaku olw'eggulo omwami oyo yavuddeyo jjo n'atangaza eggwanga ku nsonga ezo. Kasooke tulabe byayogedde, then we'll be back for our comments.
Kusaasana ku mikutu emitimbagano egy'enjawulo nga bulaga ng'omwami Lubega Sam Mukaku eyabadde ku kakiiko k'ebyokulonda ka NUP bwe yagobeddwa ekibiina kino ku byekuusa ku nsonga ng'obuli bw'enguzi n'endala nnyingi, avuddeyo ne yeesamba kalebule ono.
Ngabana bagamba tabanga abadde ali nyawono ne wali tabanga abadde ali corrupt. Njagala okubategeeza rekodi yange eri clear, buli muntu amanyi kyembaamu nkibaamu n'omutima gwange 10 mu 10 ku buli 10 ate nze sibeeranga ko corrupted mu myaka 30 n'obululu bwe mbaddemu nandibufunyemu ssente okusinga ne kino ekiriwo, ate nga n'omwana wange oyo Kyagulanyi ne people power nze nabitandika, nze nabiyiira omusaayi, ate n'okutuusa kati wano we bituuse nze mbikutte ku mukono, siyinza kutunda wadde okutta omwana gwe nazaala.
Mwami Sam Mukaku era awaza okukasimbagana n'abo bonna abaagala okulwanyisa ekibiina kiro, era ng'agambye nti bano kabajjutuse nga balabudde nga bwagenda okubalyanga sumbuusa.
Nga Field Marshal ng'omu ku bantu abateerya ntama ate abatazanyirwako mu mbeera eno nga zino z'enkovu eza safe houses emyezi 6 eno eya Museveni, nga zino z'enkovu byebiso ebya military barracks wali embuya ku kwota guard n'emyezi 14 n'okusibwa wetusibizwa ne torture z'empiseemu ne tear gas ne survival z'enkoze. Njagala kubategeeza I'm still living, ngenda kubalya nga sumbuusa nze ndi kologoma.
Wabaddewo n'ababadde beerimbika mu kibiina kyo nga beeyita aba NUP wabula nga balya mu lulimi ssaako ne mu luzise. Ono era abaanise n'ategeeza nga bwe balina abantu bwe batya bangi wadde nga bajja kubalwanyisa.
Eno egenda mu maaso abantu abeetikidde obukofiira obumyufu naye ate nga be bakozi ba NRM number 1 bano. Kino tukiraze ebbanga era twagala bannamawulire mu kiraga ensi yonna. Tulina abantu bangi nga bambadde enkofiira emyufu nga bwe njambadde wano. Eno nkofiira myufu bumyufu naye si yetegeeza omutima gwaki gw'omuntu.
Bo abamu ku balonzi boogedde ku nsonga eno mu bujjuvu era ne bategeeza nga bwe bali abasanyufu olwo Sam Mukaku okuvaayo n'annyonnyola mu lwatu.
Gange nze waswa Julius Carlton neesimbye okuba kansala erisitiri mu Lubaga. Esaazi nemundaba nti nessanyu ku matama era ndiira ne mu mutima ekikoleddwa olwaleero tuli basanyufu nti omubaka waffe Honorable Lubega Mukaku Samuel Walter avuddeyo okunnyonnyola eggwanga bannalubaga bonna ki ekibadde kitrendinga mu social media.
Wabula abamu babudde akulira ekibiina kino ku nkola ye y'emirimu nga bamusabira alekerawo okwanika ensonga z'ekibiina mu lwatu.
Kati abantu twagala otufuge bulungi, bw'oba Sekidde nga nazizza omusango twagala pulezidenti waffe otufuge bulungi nga Sekidde olina obuyinza kati obumpita olwaleero kino kyokola sikola kisi kyagala. Sam Lubega wabakale twafunyemu okuwummula agende yeesimbewo. Tikyandigeze mawulire ekintu ekyo kwakantu kabadde katono nnyo. Sam Lubega agambye yeyawummudde yekka na yekka naganze ku mumida constituency. Tikyandigeze mawulire kubanga abamawulire bagenda tuleetera obuzibu abantu balina okufuga pulezidenti waffe ne bumulondo obubi. Pulezidenti oyo nga mukambwe, ye pulezidenti obadde wana atugoba. So nolwekyo tubadde tusaba nze mpumbawumba ng'omusajja omukulu ng'akulya ebyobuwangwa mu people power ndi ssebuwumbawumba.
Nze Sekiwunga Hasif ku lwa STV Select ey'enjawulo.
Oh yes, that is Rubega Samuel Mukaku giving his opinion on his dismissal by Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. What do you make of that?
Well, the thing about being a leader is this. It's very tricky. There'll be too many opinions about how you should lead your people that if you're not strong, if you're not principled, if you're not opinionated yourself, you're going to get to a place whereby people show you or tell you what to do and then you follow like a lost sheep. Now, when we look at the Mukaku issue, Mukaku, just like any other DP member, including Nambozo, have had a position whereby they're DP, but they're also NUP stroke people power. And they're looking at themselves as soon as this particular struggle is done, I'm going back to DP. Now, this puts people power and people like Mukaku at a position whereby they're going to clash. They're going to clash because, see, if Mukaku doesn't know where he's, where he's supposed to be, where he's supposed to put his trust and where he's supposed to put his vote, is going to be tricky, because you cannot go to a youth election and then vie for a DP youth councillor and then leave a people power councillor. You're showing that you're not sure where you stand.
Well, according to him, I think he denied those allegations.
The youth, his defense was controversial, because what he said is the youth who were there who accused me of that are also NRM. Nababalimu NUP to eat money. You get it? And it's very hard for Robert Kyagulanyi to deal with these issues because he's in a position where he doesn't know who is for him and who isn't for him. And people like Mukaku and Nambozo are making it confusing for people power and DP, because now what Norbert Mao said was that people who have gone from DP to NUP are just doing it for the votes, because they know NUP is very popular and we are at a position whereby when they go to this particular party, they're going to win their elections because people know NUP for youth and youth are voting for NUP.
True.
Now, these people have total hypocrisy in
I
them.
think that is a big challenge when it comes to the opposition.
It is.
Hypocrisy and lack of trust. Those are one of the biggest issues that are eating up the opposition.
Exactly.
Even if one crosses from one party to the other, there's going to be that bit of a lack of trust. We don't know why they are crossing from one party to the other. Yeah, I've always been saying that. NOP apparently is the red flower in the green pasture that is attracting quite a number of candidates
and flies and
everything. It's actually, we are yet to see more joining.
Exactly.
We are yet to see.
We've just started the process.
So what exactly is going to happen is you're going to see many either go back to where they belong, like what Norbert Mao said, that those that went to NOP will have to come back, because there's absolutely nothing they're going to get from NOP apart from getting that exposure from the new baby
and the excitement
that comes along with that. There's nothing that they're going to put on a table. Like I said yesterday, they needed not to cross to any other party if there were internal issues that they had in their previous parties. All what they needed to do is to iron out the issues in the previous parties where they belonged. Otherwise, there's nothing they're going to add onto those parties. Absolutely nothing. When you look at the likes of those 11 MPs that crossed from DP to NOP, what more are they going to get? Instead, it is NOP that is going to make them shine.
Now, the other challenge that NUP is going to face is that where we are, there's supposed to be party primaries, right? We're going to have 4 people who are vying for one position internally
within the same party.
And now, one person came from NRM to NUP and is standing for that position. One person came from DP to NUP and is standing for that position. One person came from FDC to NUP and is standing for the same position, and the other person is NUP original. Now,
and that is going to be the reason as to why they are going to cross back to their parties,
because when one person wins, say that person is from NUP originally or is from NRM, the rest are going to say, since I don't have a ticket in NUP, I'm going back, and I hope their parties chase them so they can stand as independent independent. Because if you cannot make up your mind as a woman or a man who is above 18 years and you expect decisions to be made for you by FET, I hope FET kicks you in the ass for that.
Absolutely. And we needed to know what reasons are they giving for them to cross from one party, let's say from DP
indecision,
to no.
darling.
Okay.
Indecision.
There's being indecisive, yes, but then there should be a fundamental reason, a primary reason as to why you should cross from one party to the other. When you look at what exactly is happening within the Democratic Party, yes, everyone knows it's in black and white that there are internal issues or wrangles that are happening within the Democratic Party. Democratic Party has always been divided in about 3 or 2 divisions. We have what they call green DP, green outside and yellow inside.
Over light green and dark green.
No, this is how they branded themselves. According to them, there's what they call themselves nti kungulu wa green munda wa yellow. Tuina munabo nkungulu nga ba green nenga munda ba red. You remember what Mao said? We have the purples and we also have the watermelons. So those are the divisions that are happening within the Democratic Party. And instead of them sitting down and iron out their issues and make DP a strong party, crossing to NOP cannot make a difference. You're crossing with your challenges that you're going to disorganize a young group that is well established.
And the problem with DP is very small that can be sorted out. It's tribalistic, it's religious, it's something that can be sorted out. But for people to say, Nambozo is a very tricky person. I mean, for her to say, I'm in NUP right now, but the moment the struggle is over, I will go back to my parent party.
I think that is the biggest strength.
Who does that?
I think that is the biggest strength for NOP. It is not affiliated to anything. Unlike other parties, when you look at DP, it is affiliated to either tribe or religion. UPC the same. I think even movement, NRM, it is not affiliated to anything. But I think that is one of the biggest strengths of a political party. If you are not affiliated to anything, that means you are going to consume each and everything. You're going to combine effort rather than a party that is affiliated to MSA religion. You're going to find that you're only going to win support from a certain religion or from a certain tribe. That is the biggest strength I see from the NOP.
Now, speaking of political parties and politicians crossing over from one party to another, we're looking at a situation where we want to amend the NSSF Bill 2019. And when we look at the old NSSF bill, you can only get your money when you're 55 years of age, and then that is when you can go and tell NSSF, I'm ready for my money. Now, when we look at the life rate of Ugandans, we live up to around 65, 62 years. And now, when we look at that particular age bracket, okay, there's no guarantee that you will die at 62 because our life rate is at 62 or 65. Now, Ugandans have come up with a solution together with MPs, workers' MPs, who have said, can we have a solution and amend the NSSF bill, especially now that Ugandans are going through the COVID-19 situation? Can we have the bill amended to 45 years of age, where Ugandans get the money at that age, at least 40% of their money at that age, or 60% of their money at that age, instead of waiting until they're 60 years to get all their money? I mean, all of us are, one, hungry. All of us, two, are looking for money to survive in the COVID-19 situation where we were in lockdown for what? How many? 5 months?
5 months.
You know?
I remember when Uganda had just been subjected to a lockdown, Ugandans ran broke. And most of them had savings within NSSF. And they suggested that what if they have access to their money? And there was that outcry to the president of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and his response was, let them go to their members of parliament and take that motion in the August House to see if the NSSF bill can be amended, or the NSSF Act can be amended, and put a clause where they can have access to their money before their retirement age. And that's where we are. The members of parliament tried. but apparently it's still dragging. It's not yet passed, and members of parliament are saying we need to pass this bill so that people can have access to their money. Let's first have a listen to that, and then we'll be right back.
The people who are fighting for this amendment bill so much. We have MP Sam Lyomoki and Odong Otto who are saying that we are going to camp at the parliament until this bill is passed. I'm impressed at the vigilance in passing this bill, because at the end of the day, Chris Makanga, we need it. As a nation, as a country, we need this bill passed. People have put money in NSSF and have died without having access to that money, and their relatives have failed to go after that money because the process of applying for a dead person's NSSF money or payment is so hard that people give up in the middle until you lose your energy. That's a fact. I've seen quite a number of people toil for that money. Up to date, I know of a family that lost a relative that was in early 2000. And up to now, they are still fighting for that money. So you can see how dragging that process is. You can tell the kind of energy that is put in fighting for that money. Truth be told, there's need to pass that bill. Now, from 7 p.m., when members of parliament were not even supposed to be in the house, Sam Lyomoki and Odong Otto said, we shall sit here until this bill is passed. And for them to call upon the government to pass this bill is for the good of the people. Can we have access to our money, at least half of it, before we clock 60, as we keep saving that money for our old age and retirement? Because at the end of the day, most of us have failed to reach to the point where we have access to that money at that age because we failed to survive up to that age. Now, Chris Makanga, when we look at that bill that they're trying to push, for you and me, and for the person who is watching out there, we've come to a situation whereby COVID-19 has come. 5 months into lockdown, another lockdown threatening to happen in the country. A lot of people have lost their lives, and a lot of people are still sick with COVID-19. There is no medical insurance in the country. We don't have that. And that means that you're going to use the money out of your pocket to treat yourself or your loved one for COVID-19. Or even when you want to go and check for COVID-19, you're going to get money out of your pocket. That is 300,000 in a private clinic. Now, why don't we get to a situation whereby they let us have that, release that money so we can use it in a situation whereby we are stuck as Ugandans financially?
I think that is one of the silver linings in regards to COVID-19, because I want to say that thanks to COVID-19 at a certain point in life, because this is now the point that we have to discuss and see that truly we need to have access to that money. And the COVID-19 has opened up quite a number of eyes, and it is the time that several things get adjusted in favor of Ugandans, not in favor of a few people. Because I was speaking to one of the prominent person in this country, and he was also asking me or wondering whether that money is there or not. And that brings us to a question.
Chris Makanga, when someone dies and the family doesn't come back to claim that money because they don't have information about NSSF. Now, the other problem is I am working for my company and I don't have information that I'm giving 5% of my salary to NSSF and my employer is giving 15% of what he has to add on my NSSF bill, on my NSSF money. Now, the problem is a lot of people don't have information about NSSF, as bad as a lot of people don't have information about COVID-19. So NSSF needs to launch an information scheme whereby people learn that I have my money in NSSF, this is how my money goes in, and I have to be this number of years to get my money. And if I don't, this person is supposed to go. Now that means that I will let Simon Chris, who is my next of kin, know that if I die, I have this amount of money, and can we please learn how to disclose the money that we have in NSSF. It is important that the government lets us know that you have 45 million Ugandan shillings in your account, and when you die, you're expected to get this money So that I know, I'll tell you someone, Chris Makanga, I have this amount of money, and if I die, this is the process you're supposed to go through.
That process is there. It's truly there.
That's why I'm saying
there's always a next of kin that in case of anything, that person can have access to your money.
Information. People don't have it. People don't know what they're supposed to do. People don't know who they're supposed to tell. NSSF is almost a mafia project that is running in the government because to be maniko, that is the truth. Not a lot of people have information about NSSF, and that's how this money is going.
That's a question.
It's the same question you asked about when police gets things from people. Where does it go? For what? We know that the cars that are being taken from people, if you don't go back to take your car within a certain period of time, then they auction it.
True.
Okay? So what happens to the SSF money? That is something that I think I should figure out.
Calls for investigation. Well, away from that, let's dive into another story that made rounds of headlines. And yesterday, what happened to the Forum for Democratic Party? The two lions, I want to call them the lions. We have the party president, Patrick Amriat Oboy, and the party chairman, that is Mr. Waswa Birigwa. They returned their nomination forms, and very soon bajja kwa bagenda mu kamyufu okulondako okulaba ani anakwata bendera ya FDC. Wabula olunaku olw'eggulo buli omu yalaze biki byagenda okukola era nga basuubiza ebintu bingi. Omu yagambye nti singa afuuka president, buli munnauganda ajja kufuna emitwalo 10 buli mwezi okumala emyezi giijo. Then omulala n'agamba ye tajja kuva ku nkola y'okuguguba oba gye bayita defiance. Let's first have a look at that and then we'll be right back.
Olunaku olwaleero abaagala okukwatira ekibiina kya FDC bendera mu kalulu ka 2021 okukulembera eggwanga lwe bakomezzaawo empapula zaabwe. Kino kibadde ku kitebe kyabwe ekikulu e Najjanankumbi. Omulongo wa Sabirga nga y'omu ku abo abeesimbyewo asabye banna FDC okumuwa akalulu nga bw'alina enteekateeka ennungi eri eggwanga singa aba alondeddwa.
Ogibuzizza nga bw'oginoonya. Kaakati mbasaba akalulu. Buli omu alina essimu ati neki ampa akalulu ng'ekiseera kituuse. Ebinaasingawo tujja kubyogerako olw'okuba tulina budde bumala. Ndeebaza nnyo okumpuliriza. Mukama Katonda abayambe abakuume. Amina.
Ye Patrick Oboy nga naye ayagala kukwatira kibiina kino bendera agambye waakukyusa ebyenjigiriza by'eggwanga okubissa ku mutindo singa aba alondeddwa.
And therefore, this inevitably makes me a subject of His Royal Highness Sabasaja Kabaka Mabudo. Throughout my career, I have walked around the country and made friends from the most northern tip of this country.
Ayongeddeko nti ayigidde bingi ku Dr. Kizza Besigye era ng'alaba yasaanidde okukwatira ekibiina kino bendera mu kalulu akajja aka 2021.
I am going to be the bridge between the young generation and the aging generation. My age will allow me to do that, to be able to effectively speak to the young people who are majority in our country demographically, and to speak to the minority old people, assuring the young people of the safety of their lives as we progress to the future, and assuring the elders of a safe retirement. Nobody needs to be afraid, because this bridge called power exists and is capable.
Kura STV Select eyenjawulo nze Shamira Nagawa.
Well, thank you so much, Shamila Nagawa. When we look at the story that is happening in FDC, now Amuriat has vacated his place as the party chairman and he's given it to Joyce Sevugwao.
Sure.
Now, when you look at what is happening at FDC, and it is ought to happen, because once you want to become a presidential flag bearer of a certain party, you're supposed to step down as the party chairman and then give it to someone else. Now, one thing I will applaud these political parties for is just like President Yoweri Museveni, they have now seen that women are worth being put in these positions and women can do the job that men were doing in these political parties. You can see that FDC has now fronted a woman as the chairman of the party, just like ANT when Mugisha Muntu was stepping out because he was becoming the party's flag bearer. Now I'd like to applaud them for that and say that let us see what women have in regard to organization and regard of running these parties. She's a strong woman, Joyce. She's a very strong woman, and she also has a political history with FDC.
Yeah, very
now,
strong,
as we
especially
are speaking,
within Buganda.
Yes, within Buganda. We know that she is quote a royalty in a way. She has royal blood, and that also gives her a mileage.
Well, now looking at the two lions within the Forum for Democratic Change and what they promised, one promised to work on the elder retirement benefits and then change the education system in the country, and then one promised Ugandans to earn at least 100,000 shillings per month for a given month.
Minimum wage.
Yeah, not minimum wage.
Of minimum
no,
wage?
Monthly salary or income, 100,000 per month. I think Chisoboka, we have countries that have done that. And looking at the country's economy and looking at how much has been embezzled.
Our economy is bad because of corruption and embezzlement.
Absolutely.
That's why such promises, when you said that, I excelled, because such promises are promises that these political leaders have made but have not walked the talk.
The challenge is...
And I hate it when they play tunes that they can't dance to. It's annoying. The
challenge is whoever comes as president of this country has been eaten up by one virus that called corruption, that we do not have any vaccine. We try to have a vaccine, which is the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. But recently, even the president of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, came out and said it's been infiltrated. Yagamba anti embwa, olumba oluluma embwa. Origigano okunyiriza lumbe oluyinza okugita kitegeeza even the body that is supposed to fight corruption has been infiltrated, then there's need to worry as a country. So whoever comes as a president, Latifah, corruption, many things could be done within this country. Even for any Ugandan to earn 100,000 shillings per month could be possible, but a lot of money has been lost in corruption or would be day and see to Uganda.
Very true. Now, looking at FDC as a party and the primaries that they're having, I'm very happy for them, because just like DP, they were struggling a little bit. When Dr. Kizza Besigye said he was not coming back as the FDC flag bearer, a lot of people were sad about it. And FDC became disorganized, and they were forcing Kizza Besigye to come back, because now when we went for the first time to nominate Patrick Amuriat and his contender, we saw that Kizza Besigye's posters were put all over the place as the FDC flag bearer. It made people get a little bit confused, and they were wondering what was happening. But Kizza Besigye said it, and he stood on his feet this time. That makes me very proud of him. Thank you, Dr. Kizza Besigye, for standing on your foot. You said that you're not coming back as the presidential flag bearer for FDC, and you kept your word. However, he said that he has a plan B for FDC.
I remember him saying that fronting these two gentlemen, the party chairman and the party president, Amuriat Oboy and Wasa Birigwa, that was already plan A. Then plan B is one that we are yet to know. How is it going to be done? Where is it coming from? But I was listening to Omkukunav Tamale Mirund trying to analyze the plan B that will be coming from Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye. I think according to him, it is going to come from different regions. If we have powerful leaders or candidates that are going to appear on the ballot paper, and being the fact that will be representing different regions, according to him, if only Patrick Amuriat Oboy appears on the ballot paper, that will be one of his plan B that will have to be done by Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye. I don't know whether how true that could be.
Well, the political situation in the country is tricky because politics in the country is based on tribes and religion. And that means if we're looking at politics based on tribes and religion, we're looking at Bobi Wine being central, Bagandas, and also Bobi Wine is very popular in northern Uganda. We've noted that in the last by-elections that happened. Bobi Wine seems to be very popular in
actually not only in Buganda. When you look at all the areas where he had to front those candidates during the by-elections, he left a mark. Yes,
that's why we're saying northern region is one of those strong points of Bobi Wine, and people are so excited about it. Now, away from that, we have ANT that is very popular in Kasese because of
Mugisha Muntu
and Winnie Kizza. And then when we go to Mbale, Eastern region, Amuriat is from there.
Popular.
Is from there. So when I look at this particular election in FDC, I'm wondering, is Amuriat going to be the flag bearer? Because Dr. Kizza Besigye's plan B, if it is regional, then Amuriat may possibly be the FDC flag bearer.
Well, the Fire Show is going to be taking a short break, and I will return with our topic of discussion. For now, it's a good morning.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
Don't miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
Bampita Dr. Franklin Mondo Mugisha wano ku STV biri ku machakera nange nga twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo engeri z'okwezimba mu ggwanga lyaffe engeri z'okuzimba gye tubeera gye tuva wategedde obwavu lwa kibuluma mikwano gy'abaavu baani otambula otya osula otya okusalawo okwo okw'obulamu kutandikira ku nfunayo emikwano gy'abagaga n'abaavu tusobola ogitegeera no ku STV tugenda kwogera ku nsonga z'abaslay queen tutambula tutya kukyusa omulembe gw'abawala baffe kubanga bafuuka babuvunaanyizibwa era nga bakozi nga banoonyi ba kikumi tugenda kwogera ku bakanyama bazimba batya emibiri y'omubiri bwe guli mu ssente oba bwe bulamu bwe twetaaga omukazi tasobola kuleka musajja w'emmotoka mukaaga mbu akwate 6 pack amufune mbu batambule naye wano ku STV Big Network. See ya.
Abalamuzi babagamba if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power temusibayo muntu n'omu kutwiza. This is why Besigye is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire nawandika n'ekitabo kyange the role of witchcraft in the Malaysia society sapule njijjamu
noyingira sabo
katonda wa bujja nze katonda bw'obujja bw'oba olaga eri sapule twegitwala omusajja omubbi bamujja ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi ne bamujja ewuwe ewaka yabadde mu ttooyi naye tebamukkiriza na tusanatayizi bamutadde buteesi mu piikaavu ba mu state house naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesize kiwi yayitiddeko yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
watching STV. Select for fun.
Olw'ogoto lwa waaka.
Kubanga okyekumidde ku STV the first show era nga tukwereza okusinzira wano ku Kasozi Ebuziga. Amanya nze Simon Chris Makanga era nga tukyali mu show yaffe gye bayita the first show. Gwe yakatwegatako twongera okwaniriza era nga tugenda kati mu kanyomero kaffe ke tuyita Perspective 2021. Naye nga tetunaba kugenda yeeyo kambajjukize katono nnyo nti COVID-19 bwe yajja mu nsi yattu Uganda. Government ya creating oba yateekawo akakiiko ak'enjawulo ke bayita COVID-19 task force era nga kano kaali kakuyambako okulwanyisa ekirwadde kino ekyeriisizza enkuuli mu nsi yattu Uganda. Bwe twogerera abalwadde bangi nnyo omuwendo gulinnya buli lunaku era nga kati abantu 26 be bakalusulamu akaba. Wabula kyenyamiza nnyo nti kakiiko kano ke baateekawo okulwanyisa ekirwadde kya COVID-19 bakyamani b'ebyalo they were not involved. Era nga ku kyalo ba considering RDC okubanga akolaganira wamu n'abantu. Twakiraba mu kugaba emmere bagezaako nnyo okubeera nga bali involved naye not so fully but rather RDCs they were so much involved. Akaseera kano negatiddwako chairman Sekimpi Kasim avudde ku kyalo Senkala village wano Kansanga Lukuli. Chairman
Simon.
Nsanyusa okulaba.
Nange okulaba Simon. Webale kuweereza sebo.
Kale sebo. Mbadde nkuwulira buulizi.
Nga gye ndi eyo wansi mu ghetto.
Era nsanyusa okukukyazaako.
Sebo.
Ensonga z'abakyama tutandikirewo tetulina budde bungi.
Ensonga
z'abakyama okubanga temuli involved mu kulwanyisa COVID-19. Kiki okyogera?
Amanya nze Sekimpi Kasimu, chairman LC1 Sankala. Nga Simon tukusooka okwebaza n'okwebaza TV ya STV. Tindoza TV esoose okukyaza ku ssentebe w'ebyalo era programu eno ya first show programu esinga mu East Africa yonna kubanga TV ezisinga zikyaza aba ministers abalala tebalowooza nti bassentebe b'ebyalo nabo balina omugaso. So togambye ku nsonga ezigenda mu maaso ku bassentebe b'ebyalo naddala kulwanyisa COVID-19 okubanga twalekebwa emabega kituufu. Kati w'otunuulira okugaba akawunga bwe kwajja baatuyitaawo tuyambeko ne tuyambako. Oburecent baatuyise nga tugenda kugaba masks. Twagabye kugeza nze ku kyalo waffe nina abatuuze 1,000. Twagabye masks. Zo masks tebalese na security. Baatuwadde masks era nange gye nyambala nze nayo wano. Ne tuzigaba nyumba ku nyumba. Ne tuzigaba nga tebatuwadde wadde 10. Ate nga President Museveni, President waffe w'eggwanga ow'ekitiibwa, wabadde akola state of address. Nga maane yebaza nnyo ba local leaders nagamba nti abakulembeze b'ebyalo mwebale nnyo mwe mulidde empanga naye ku budget ku programu zonna abatudde buli era tulabye ddala nga ekiremeseza COVID-19 okubanga akakano oba kubanga abantu bagondera ebiragiro kubanga tebatikamu basente b'ebyalo kubanga ffe basente b'ebyalo buli lunaku tubeera mu batuuze baffe ate n'abo abakulembeze bakimanyi ne baba ekitiibwa president naye alina gy'ava era waliyo ssente bakola ki amutwala nga nze ssentebe wa Haji Sulaiman Mbuga eri gye yatuzimbira eddwaliro so kitegeeza nti nze nkuuma eddwaliro lye n'ebintu bye kitegeeza nti tuba tulina okubanga buli kaseera tuli mu programu ezo eza gavumenti. Olowooza lwaki tebabagattako ku mugendo guno gw'okulwanyisa COVID? Simanyi lwaki naye kuva dda gavumenti ekoze ebintu bingi naye nga abasente b'ebyalo bateeka ebweru w'otunuulira sina nsonga gye nyinza kugamba nti yiino kubanga already sente zaaliwo mu budget era ng'oziraba nali ndowooza nti omuntu gwe balina okusookerako mu nteekateeka ez'okulwanyisa COVID-19 yandibadde mukulembeze wa kyalo kubanga amanyi omutuuze waali tubonyebonye nnyo wano eno nga tuli mu lockdown nga naddala ng'abantu balwala abakyala ab'embuto okumanya batuteeka ebbali batuka ne kuleva egamba nti ebbaluwa ezikukomendinga omuntu like omutwala mu ddwaliro wa RDC kati ekiro RDC waffe mwami Ibrahim Kagolo atabera mu office abeera avuddeyo naye ate gwobeerako ku kyalo mbeera ku kyalo kinyangula mangu okolera omuntu ebbaluwa n'agenda ku kyalo nakola ki twagezanga kuziwandika nti za LC1 ng'ate abasikale bamukwata ng'ate bamukuba ekintu kye twalabanga si kirungi era nga kikiremeseza okubanga
olowooza singa mwali mugattiddwa ku task force eyo mwali kyamaanyi ki kimwandikozeewo?
Simon njagala okutegeeza nti omukulembeze abantu gwe basinga okulonda ye ssentebe w'ekyalo era w'otunuulira okulonda kwonna omuntu alekayo okukola okwaffe kwali kwa layini naye abantu balekayo okukolega nti twagala chairman waffe ow'ekitundu kibategeeza nti bamunamu obwesigwa buki era bagamba nti chairman wabanga agambye kati singa twali ku ddoboozi eryo nga tukola omulimu ogwo nyumba ku nyumba okusingawo naleeta aba LD okuva e Kabagala okuva e Makindi okuvaawa bajje mu kitundu kye batatwala so interest gye babeera nayo nga bamulonda eyandiyambyeko nnyo abantu abo okugondera amateeka n'ebiragiro bya COVID-19.
olowooza gavumenti eyinza kukola kyokubanga ebempawalinga nga mwe ba chairman b'ekyalo?
Yes, gavumenti ekisooka kya byonna kyerina okukola erina okusasula abassentebe b'ebyalo era ze zimu ku nsonga ezaagala ndowooza okundeetera okugendako waggulu mu bifo by'obukulembeze twadvocate ku musaala gw'abassentebe b'ebyalo. Simon nze nasooka kubeera w'abavubuka emyaka 5 ejaggwa nenzijja kati ndi ssentebe emyaka nga 2 n'ekitundu naye w'otunuulira bassentebe b'ebyalo babawo omusaala gwasingisa omutwalo gumu.
Omutwalo gumu ogw'Uganda?
Ogw'Uganda, omutwalo gumu ogw'Uganda buli mwezi.
Nga mugujja wa?
Omutwalo gumu
gujira mu baasa wa mugujja kwa account?
Bagamba bakuweereza ku simu naye ate bukyanga tulondebwa nga nze ku kino ekisanja titulanga ko wadde n'ekikumi.
Chairman njagala twogeze n'obukakafu obukakasa mufuna omutwalo gumu ogw'Uganda.
Sebo Simon ndi ku TV eno ate TV eno yesingwa okulaba abantu kati mu East Africa yonna nkyogera bandaba wabaawo awakanya nti bassentebe b'ebyalo tebabasasula mutwalo gumu ofisi yange bamanyi weeri nze Sekintu Kasumba bajje bantwale mu kooti. Omutwalo gumu gubeerako n'abantu b'okola nabo 11 okusasulako ofisi w'okolera emirimu n'ebintu byonna byolina okukola n'ebizibu byonna egyona nabye story mwagizanyi wano ku STV ey'omukyala eyetaaga obuyambi mu COVID muno abantu tebava mu maka gaffe tebava ku ofisi zaffe twagala mmere twagala obuyambi okugambye bukyanga tulondebwa tetufunanga
emyezi emeka
kati emyaka si myezi kubanga batulonda kati emyaka 2 n'ekitundu tetufunanga
naye bassentebe b'ebyalo kyensinga okumanyako omukulu Sekimpi mwe muwandiika ebbaluwa muntu ayagala kugulawo akawunti ne mujjako emitwalo gigi 2 wakati we 2 n'etaano omuntu ayagala kufuna national ID stamp okugifuna mumujjako ssente omuntu ayagala apangisa ennyumba okufuna kaadi y'ekyalo mumujjako wakati we15 n'omutwalo kitegeeza mukolera ddala ssente mpitirivu.
Simon si kituufu obukulembeze bwa LC1 ndowooza
ezo ssente ziragawa
kanzije Simon obukulembeze bwa LC1 ndowooza bwe bukulembeze bwokka omuntu bw'alina okuyitamu n'ategera obukulembeze engeri gye bumenyamu ate engeri gye bunyumamu. Sebo ensonga gyoyogeddeko nti no tusaba abantu amabaluwa ssente si kituufu kubanga kisinzira ekitundu ky'oba okulembera kati ngaffe abakulembera ebitundu ebya ghetto omuntu ajja nga akugamba talidde kati wakugamba nti yeetaaga ebbaluwa nga tulina bwemujjako ssente so waliwo ebbaluwa zimu ze tuyinza otusasuza 15 like oba nga kugulawo akawunti naye kati waliwo ebbaluwa ng'ez'emirimu baluwa nga za chachi baluwa nga za kutambuza maiti kubanga buli wamu basaba ebbaluwa LC buli office ekugamba leeta ebbaluwa yaki weesanga nga okusinziira ku level y'ekitundu n'abantu ab'ekitundu ekyo
ky'okulembera
ate nzija tosobola kuyoola mwami Simon kubanga abantu b'ekitundu b'okulembera kati nga nze akulembera Sankala Kibaati ghetto bantu bali bubi tulina bw'omusaba ssente abamu basula njala abamu basula ku street abalandizi babagoba misango mingi nga
sente ze mulwani ze mukozesa okuddukanya office sente muzijjawo
sente
oba maze kuvanga balonda temufunanga kasente sente ze mukozesa zivaawo
kati ebiseera ebisinga wobeera ssentebe olina kukola mukwano na bwasseruganda kati nga nze nina kati nga Haji Mbuga mutuuze wange sometime abantu ngabo bakuyambako bakusasula office kugamba abategeera ebizibu abatonotono ababeera muki zibeera mukwano nakunyonyola obeera nga atali mu campaign tuyambe ku kino tulina kino ekizibu kugamba kugatta bugasi bantu ne muyambagana obuyambi bwojja mu kitundu era bwe buyambako okuweereza naye nga tewaliwo mbeera yonna era gavumenti erina okulowooza otunira omubaka wa parliament bamuwa milioni za 25 tulina proposal nti at least bandibadde bajjako milioni nga 5 ne baziwa ssente b'ekyalo buli mwezi.
Ekibiina ky'NRM kigenda bawa obugaadi wabutegeddeko?
Yes, nakitegeddeko ekisooka nze siri member wa NRM naye ndi member wa kibiina kya DP era nasigadde ku tikiti yange ya DPG nawangulirako akalunga ssentebe naye otunuulira obugaali NRM bwe yagabye of course ate President Museveni awo yakoze mwesobi kuba ffenna abadde atwebaza mu covid yandibugabye wadde naffe ffenna abawabula gavumenti ffenna natukola ki naye we yatuuse ku bugaali ffe yatugyemu
nawe aba
NRM okaffe natuteeka ebbali so nga te n'akagaali kati nga wano e Kampala ekyamazima kalina kikayinza kuyamba era n'abafunye obugaali ojasanga nga abasinga babutunze era nga tebabuyina atisi sente w'ekyalo yeetaga nga alina emmotoka yeetaga nga atambula nga azitowa omuyita ku mikolo yaggula ne pulezidenti waba agenda ebweru akugamba nti eggwanga ndekedde basente b'ebyalo naye ne bw'ajja mu Sankara owekitiibwa pulezidenti nze mwaniriza
zijjukira amabega kaawo yagamba nti ku nteekateeka bwe yakwata obukulembeze bw'eggwanga yagamba nti yali yeesiga nnyo bachairman b'ebyalo okuva ku chairman LC1 mpaka ku wokusatu okulwanyisa obuli bw'enguzi mu ggwanga ekyo nakyo kyogerako
kituufu nnyo ekyo era pulezidenti akimanyi naye simanyi lwaki oba bamwetolodde akimanyi ddala nti LC1 mu buli nteekateeka yonna yinza okuwa example omwami Simon mabega kaawo wano lukuli buziga waliwo ekkuba eridda awo kirombe eridda mu kirombe awo erisalamu ekyo kirombe lukuli neriyita ku poliisi awo nerigenda ensambya ekkuba eryo balikola naye ne bataliteekamu hamps naye basente b'ebyalo twavuddeyo n'abatuuze baze kubanga twakafuna accidents nga 5 ng'abantu bafa naye because we are concerned residents twavuddeyo nga basente b'ebyalo ntuteekayo petition yaffe mu KCC ndugamba naye ekkuba lino muteekeko hamps wekiba kiganye abantu bagenda kufa so kitegeeza ki nti ffe engeri gye tuli ku ground olwokuba kati nga luno oluguudo olukolebwa olwa buziga ffe tulaba buli lunaku ono atwala omusenyu ono atwala amatafaali tubeerawo awo buli kaseera okusinga omubaka wa parliament ayinza okujja ebuziga ali katwe ali luddawa simanyi naye ng'ekyamazima tusaba gavumenti owekitiibwa President Museveni tukyaliko tumanyi nti gwakyali pulezidenti era okyasobola oba ogenda okwogera ku nsonga zaffe tusaba naddala ng'otuuse okwadressinga nation oyogere ku basente b'ebyalo watwebaza nnyo naga watuyita n'aba residence councils tusaba otwogereko simanyi ndowooza twetaaga tufuneyo akakiiko akatugatta nga abasente b'ebyalo mu Uganda yonna naffe tubenga tulina petition eyaffe gye twali omukulembeze w'eggwanga okututegeera n'okumanya tuli ba mugaso gye tukola
kiki olowooza kiki gavumenti yandikoze ogikubidde omulanga naye olowooza kiki yandikoze ekyenjawulo okulaba nga eba empoweringa nga mwe bakyamani b'ebyalo
gavumenti kyerina okukola ekyenjawulo ekisooka luli edda bakomyangawo 25% ku musolo oguba gukuŋŋaanyiziddwa mu kitundu omwo omusolo ogwo nga gukola ku kasasiro nga batuyambako nga abantu basasula akasasiro nga sente ezo zikola ki zikomawo nga nezza zidda ddala ku kyalo 25% olumanya nti bakuŋŋanyiza million 10 ne bajjako 25% ne zikomawo ne ziyamba ku ki ku kyalo percentage eyo tekyakomawo
zaddawa
tetumanyi tekyadda naddala kati mu Kampala batulonda nga politicians ate ne batekawo ne ba directors executives akugamba batutte emirimu nga banyi kati gavumenti kyerina okukola erina okukkiriza percentage neddamu okukomawo n'okukendeza ku musala gw'ababaka ba parliament zabaka parliament ejja balemerako nnyo bakendeze ku musala gwabwe bafuna million 25 bajjeko million 5 bafune million 2 kubanga tukola nnyo emirimu gyabwe eno wansi ku kyalo
njagala nnyo kinyala kwebuuzaako mukulu Ssekimpi edda wabangawo kooti z'ebyalo era zayambangako nnyo okendeeza omujjuzo mu makomera ng'emisango egimu giggwera ku byalo kooti ezo zikyaliwo bazaggwawo
kooti zikyaliwo era wotuukako ewange saa zino siriiwo ne sekutale gyali emisango mingi nnyo abantu nga nakugambye nti abantu beesiga nnyo basente b'ebyalo bantu bawaaba nnyo ku LC era tuyambako nnyo poliisi okendeeza obuzibu bw'emisango mu kutegeeragana mu kukwatagana ku misango naddala gye tukolako okubanga artist abamu kufe tumanyiko ku misango ki gye tusobola okukolako ngaffe ku saidi yaffe so kooti gye ziri era zikolera ddala naddala yange mu Sankara etuula ensonga ne tuzimala zitagenda ku poliisi
misango nga ki gye mukwasaganya
okugeza emisango nga egy'amaka emitonotono emisango nga egyo waliwo obubbi obutonotono okuvuma okuyomba ebitunga ebyo ebitonotono n'emisango egy'amabanja gitasuka million 2 nga ssemateeka watulagira emisango egyo tugikolako era ne tugimala
ntegeddeko mbu oyagala kusuulawo tawulo wate ogende kuvunaanyizibwa obulala kwegamba oyagala kuva guno omutwalo gwe batebakuwa ogende kufune ku bwa Lord Councillor LC5
Simon
lwaki
neyanziza si kusuulawo tawulo wabula njagala kwongera ku buweereza obuweereza bungi era abantu bangi nnyo bantuukirira naye nga sikulembera byalo ebyo okugeza nga nti oluguudo lwe olwa Kirombe twataddeyo petition era gavumenti wagiwadde ewiiki emu we naba tutadde mu hampusinga abantu bafa tujja teekawo obutali bumativu tujja kwekalakaasa okw'emirembe okutasasanya covid nga tubagamba nti oluguudo lumuteeke mu hampusi kubanga abaana baffe bangi bafiiridde awo kati olwokuba nti ndabye nti abantu bandikamu obwesigwa ne banondanga ssentebe ate nga nkyayagala okubaweereza okusingako just neetaaga kifo kirala wenyinza okusinziira okubaweereza naye nga sikusuulawo obutawulo mbadde w'amaanyi era ku kyalo eyo wenagaa nti njagala kwesimbawo nga road cancer yos 5 bantu bangi bazze bantuukirira nga mbaotulekedde ani asigadde naye nga mbategeeza nti bwe naabeera road cancer yos 5 jasigala nga mbaweereza so njagala gaziya buweereza wabula saagala kusuulawo tawulo
bizibu ki nga tumaliriza bizibu ki bye mulina awo ku kyalo kyammwe erukuli
erukuli tulinawo ebizibu bingi okugeza nga ebizibu by'emyala ebizibu by'amakubo embeera z'abantu ba bulijjo mbi ddala era olaba ebiseera ebisinga omutandisi wa tv eno owekitiibwa Haji Sulaiman Kabangala yatera tuyamba era amawulire oba ogalaba nga tumuyita ate kirungi kati yatandikawo tv twamuyitanga ku tv ndala naye kati tuyitana ku ye yennyini abantu basula enjala abantu basula ku streeti amakubo teri era waliwo omwala ogugatta ku kansanga ne Rukuli gavumenti yajja negukola nga ate tumaze kwekalakaasa naye nakati gumaze emyaka ng'ebiri kuba batandika ogukola teguggwa so embeera si nnungi mu kitundu ate nga omanyi nti ebyalo byaffe ebya ghetto okubikulembera n'okuba nga otegera nnyo embeera yaawo ku kitundu n'abantu abo ba bulijjo naye nga embeera naddala mu byenfuna ate covid atabangudde nnyo amaka bintu bingi nnyo covid byaleese emisango gy'amaka gyo mingi nnyo era tusaba President Museveni atusaasire aleme kutuza mu lockdown kubanga wanatuza mu lockdown abantu bagenda kufa tukole enkola endala masks twazifuna tuziyina za government tusaba tugondere ebiragiro naye atuyambe kati nga ffe ababeera mu ghetto watuza mu lockdown ekyamazima abaatuse
weewaawo tweyanziza nnyo omukulu Ssekimpi tukyalirako n'olala tujja kujja ku kyalo eyo twongere okulabako n'ekirala twebaza kyamaani waffe Haji SK Mbugo kubanga avuddeyo n'aba nga akwasaganya ebizibu ebisinga naddala ku kyalo kya Lukuli sibula abatulaba
abalabi ba STV mu Uganda yonna naddala abatuuze bange abasankala abatuuze b'e Makindye abatuuze ba Lukuli Buziga amannya nze musajja wamwe musajja wa Kabaka Ssekimpi Kasimu era nga mbategeeza nti nange nvuddeyo okwesimbawo ng'ate ndi ku tiketi ya kibiina kya DP enkumbi kubanga kwe najjira ndi muwagizi wa enkumbi ekyalima ndi muwagizi wa Honorable Kyagulanyi naye nga nzijire ku tiketi ya DP era nga ngenda kubeera road council LC5 nja kubaweereza mbasaba okulonda kuba kutuuse mundabire nga ddala nja kubaweereza nga mbadde mbaweereza nga nkyali ssentebe neyanza mukulu Simon
weewaawo perspective egenda ewetwe bwebadde olunaku olwaleero era nga the first show egenda kubanga ewumulamu wawula bwe tudda tukomawo n'ebyala bingi naye nga kineewunyisiza nnyo okulaba nga chairman w'oku kyalo afuna omutwalo gumu ogwa Uganda ate ng'okuva we baabalonda tegujjanga ku ssimu era tebagulabanga nako wabula nkubira gavumenti omulange naddala abali mu kulwanyisa ekirwadde kya covid-19 bakyamani b'ebyalo babalowoozeeko nnyo ekisooka bye basinga okumanya abantu ku kyalo basula batya balya batya era babeerawo batya. For now the first show takes a break and we'll be right back.
Watching STV, select for fun.
Bampita Dr. Franklin Mondo Mugisha wano ku STV biri kumakyakera nange nga twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo engeri tusobola okwezimba mu ggwanga lyaffe engeri tusobola okuzimba gye tubeera gye tuva wategedde obwavu lwa kibuluma mikwano gy'abaavu baani otambula otya osula otya okusalawo okwo okw'obulamu kutandikira ku nfuna yo emikwano gy'abagaga n'abaavu tusobola ogitegeera no ku STV tugenda kwogera ku nsonga z'abaslay queen tutambula tutya kukyusa omulembe gw'abawala baffe kubanga bafuuka babuvunaanyizibwa era nga bakozi nga banoonyi ba kikumi tugenda kwogera ku bakanyama bazimba batya emibiri ye omubiri bwe gulimu ssente oba bwe bulamu bwe twetaaga omukazi tasobola kuleka musajja w'emmotoka mukaaga mbakute akwate 6 pack abufune mubatambule naye wano ku STV Big Network. See ya.
miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
Abalamuzi babagamba, if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power, temusibayo muntu n'omukutwiza. This is why basically is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire. Nawandika n'ekitabo kyange, the role of witchcraft in malicious society. Sapule njijjamu.
Noyingire sabo.
Katonda wa bujja. Nze Katonda w'obujja. Bw'oba olaga eri, sapule twekitwala. Omusajja omubbi bamujje ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi ne bamujje ewuwe ewaka yabadde mutoyi naye tebamukiriza na tusanitize bamutadde buteesi mu piikaavu ba mu State House naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesinze kiwi yayitiddeko yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
You're watching STV. Select for fun.
Hello, good morning once again. Thank you so much for joining us. Those that have just done that, glad you are still watching the first show. My name is Simon Chris Makanga, and it is a time that we are going to be diving into our topic of discussion. Now, we know that from the time COVID-19 landed into our motherland, the Pearl of Africa, lots of things have been happening. The country was subjected to a lockdown, and quite a number of economies were affected. We have the education sector that is lagging. We have several economies. However, ezimu bagenze bazitagulula okuva ku muggalo era nga bwe twogera ssaawa zino, people are suffering because of the COVID-19 effects or the pandemic effects. We have teachers that have resorted to doing quite a number of jobs. Tulina abasomesa abamu batandise okuba bloka, abalala batandise okusiika capati, naye mabegakawo twakulaga omusomesa yali asazeewo okulima enjaga okusobola okufa okubeezaawo obulamu bwe, wabula poliisi yagenda n'egyokya about 40 acres of marijuana. Abalala bakoze ebintu ebirala bingi nnyo, wabula mu ezo effects zetwogerako mulimu ne domestic violence. Abakazi bangi bayisiddwa mu bizibu ebyenjawulo, abalala bagobye mu mayumba, abalala balekeddwawo. N'olunaku olw'eggulo senior reporter waffe Ramla Katumba yakoze story aweerukulinga atuleetedde omukyala gwe bayita Nakasaga Joyce yalekebwawo omwami we n'abaana bana, ate ekyewuunyisa omukyala oyo talaba. She's a blind lady. Let's first have a look at that story and then we'll be right back.
Omukyalo ono w'abaana abana ategeezezza nga omwami we yamugoba mu nnyumba n'awasa omukyalo omulala ng'amwekkaanya olw'embeera gye yalimu ey'obulwadde ko n'ensonga ezitaliimu nsa ng'omwana waabwe omukulu mujja na nnyina olw'okuba nti si yamuzaala ate nga ebbanga lye bamaze bonna omwami ono yali akimanyiiko.
Kati emyaka 16 naye ne twawukana n'angoba mu nnyumba. Kati banjeeza abantu n'empangisi ne banyamba n'embeera wanewoona omukyala. Kati mpisibwa mu buzibu bungi kuba nnumizibwa omutwe, nina puresha, nina omuwala atali wuwe era twabadda nga akimanyi nti si wuwe, naye olwatuuka ekiseera n'afuna omukyala n'amuwasa nze nannekyangirako nangoba ewaka.
Ono agamba nti embeera weeri emuzito oweredde olw'ensonga nti mulwadde ate nga n'ekyokulya kimubula.
Kulya kitubula ate nze mbeera mulwadde buli kaseera era siina buyambi bwonna yadde n'akamu.
Nakasagga asabye omuzira Kisaina aveeyo amuyambe ave mu mbeera enzibu gy'alimu asobole okweyagalako ng'omuntu.
Mbadde nsaba Minisita Nakiwala Esikembuga Mama Fina nga nsaba buyambi ku buli muntu yenna anumirirwe obuyambi. Kufuna buyambi ku mwami kuba yagamba talina kyayinza kumpa n'agamba nti ne bwe mba nfudde balinziika mulimbo kuba siyina waka.
Wabula okusinziira ku mukyala omulirwana yamusembeza alaze nnyiika egyalina ku mutima olwa mukyala munne era nga ategeezezza nti babeerawo mpolampola ne balyako akatono ke babeera abafunye kubanga obuyambi tebukyalabika mu kaseera kano ak'omuggalo.
So yali mukyala nga yeekolerera abaana be n'embeera eyo yatuukawo buli omu n'amuvaamu ab'eŋŋanda tolabako wadde n'omu. Famire y'omwami yo yamusuulirawo ddala tetaana kumanya myaka gye yamala naye kati byebyo ebiriwo ebibadde tusaba banna nga batuwuliriza n'abatulaba bambi omukyala mumudduukirire kati nga n'ekyokulya kifuna kutetenkanya nnyo leero afunye ekyemisana ekyeggulu asiibye oluusi tafunye bikomando mbeera bwetyo.
Ate ye muwala w'omukyalo ono agambibwa okuvaako nabe ategeezezza nga embeera ya maama we we yamwaliriza okwewola ssente atandikewo bizinensi ey'okutunda engoye okusobola okulabirira nnyina.
Era kati nze amulabirira kubeera neewola ssente ntandika okukola waneeno ntandika omulabirira. Nze amulabirira buli kimu nze akikolako.
Okusinziira ku ssentebe w'ekitundu omwami Kasimo Ssekimpi ategeezezza nti ensonga z'omukyala bagezaako okuzikwasaganya naye ne balemererwa kwe kugezaako ate okufuna obuyambi mu bantu abo mu kitundu.
Mugoba olw'ensonga ze twagezaako okukwasaganya ez'amaka mu bufunze zaatulemera era ensonga zino tuziweereza ku poliisi naye nga olwaleero ekiriwo naddala mu biseera bino ng'ebya COVID-19 ng'emumula by'omukyalo oyo muzibe yali ayambibwako bantu bano ba bulijjo abasonda nusu 1,000, 200 era olumu nga tuyisaamu ekitabo wano.
Ayongeddeko nti kati kizibu okufuna obuyambi mu bantu olw'ensonga nti akaseera ke balimu ka bwavu ate nga nabo tebasasulwa musaala gusobola kuyimirizaawo bantu ba mu kitundu. Wasinzidde n'asaba abo abazira kisa abasobola okuyambako ku mukyalo ono baveeyo ate okubeera nga abamudduukirira. Obutabanguko mu maka bweyongedde buli lukya naddala mu kaseera kano ak'omuggalo ng'entabwe yeekuusa ku bbula ery'ensimbi obwenziko n'ebirala. Ramla Katumba ku lwa STV Select Enjawulo.
Now, on the 18th of March 2020, the President of the Republic of Uganda decided to shut down the nation, schools, workplaces, and also transportation to make sure that there will be no public gathering as a way of preventing the novel COVID-19 that was announced as a pandemic in the world. Now, as we were looking for solutions to curb down the COVID-19 situation in the country, we created more trouble when it came to domestic violence cases. Now, speaking to reporters recently, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Frank Tumwebaze, noted that there was a significant increase in the cases of domestic violence and child abuse during the lockdown situation. And this came because a lot of partners and children stayed at home instead of being in school and instead of being in their workplaces, hence the increase in domestic violence situations. Simon Chris Makanga, you're put in a situation whereby daily you were earning, say, 5,000 Ugandan shillings and you'd leave it at home and go back to town and hustle. And now you've been put in a situation where you're being left in a home with your wife 24/7, a person that you were not used to being with 24/7, and now you don't have money to feed her as well. What is the aftermath of that situation is what we're seeing here as a man.
Absolutely, it's so saddening. I hate looking at such they make me so weak because most times I try to visit such places and it gives me a feeling that are we living a kind of life like other people are living? Chikuletera okulowooza nti ddala ebifunga not far from the city center. Is this the Kampala we want? Is this the Uganda we want to live in, where the minority survive at the expense of the majority? Or these are some of the effects. Now, looking at COVID-19, we didn't know that it would be coming. Neither did we want it. But the way it's been managed, we are now looking at a scenario whereby the effects are worse compared to the people who have succumbed to the disease itself. People have run broke, people have died of hunger, people have died of domestic violence. Several people. Last time I was reading a story where people with disabilities are being raped. Girls are being raped because they leave home, go on the streets to hustle to get something to eat, but at the end they are raped.
Now, when we look at the
and these are one of the effects. Look, I heard you talk about somebody was earning, who could wake up early morning, go to work, but apparently because of COVID-19, that person cannot afford to go out of his home. And that is one of the biggest cause of domestic violence during this pandemic, because initially you would wake up early, leave your wife, or both of you go out and then meet in the evening. You hardly get to know each other. Now, because of this pandemic, it is a point that you get to realize that, oh, my wife has a weakness. And because of that, you end up flexing. It is a time that you get to realize that my husband or your husband is different from the person you knew. And because of that, you're causing chaos in the family. Who are suffering because of that? The children are subjected to the same torture. So lots of things are happening. Looking at that story that we just ran, Latifah, that lady, Nakasaga Joyce, omwami we yamulekawo. Bomulaba maso, you can feel that she has a proper side, but she's blind. Do you know what caused that? She had a surgery, brain surgery, and then later that caused her blindness. The man claimed that one of the children did not belong to him. At the end, namulekawo. Look at the condition where that lady stays. She's a lady that does not work. She has 4 children. Where is she going to feed them? Man, when you look at all these things, it's so saddening.
Now, the effects of COVID-19 have come in very many ways. We've had people living with HIV failing to get their ARVs because of COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown. We've seen pregnant women who have died on their way to hospitals because, one, they have no transportation to go to the hospitals and they lose their kids in the middle as they're going to the hospitals. We have seen the pregnancy rate, especially in teens, go pretty high during the COVID-19 situation. We've seen child labor go on a very high rate during this COVID-19 situation. And now we see domestic violence at a high rate during the COVID-19 situation. From March 30th to April 28th, we registered 3,260 cases of domestic violence. 3,000 in that short time span. And we had over 26 domestic violence related deaths in the country
and
alone.
They are prone to rising. That's if Uganda is subjected to another lockdown, and this time around, believe you me, it's going to be worse and compared to the previous one. At least the other one came at the time when people had some money. Now, if Uganda is subjected to another lockdown at this point in time where we have been at home for close to 5 months, no one has been earning. Even if you've been earning, it's not an equivalent to what you were earning before, because some companies cut people's salaries, some cut employees. So there are people at home who lost jobs because of the pandemic, and these are some of the effects we are talking about. So I don't know.
The effects of this post-effect of COVID-19 are actually more than just salaries, because it's psychologically, it's child labor. See, when you stay at home for long, a man who is used to go out drinking with his friends, a man who is used to go out to go out and work, a man who's used to not being at home until a certain time of the night, and now you're being forced to stay at home and stay with your family. It's a lot of pressure on a lot of people who do not know how to handle family pressures, who do not know how to handle nagging women. Because I'll tell you the truth, from my perspective as a woman, we women can be nagging for the right reasons. But I have condemned it and I have called it out, and I said, regardless of what the situation is, no man should ever lay their hands on a woman and say, I'm beating a woman. You're not man enough.
I stand to
You're
be
not man
corrected,
enough.
Latifah, and everybody watching the show. I stand to be corrected if the Ministry of Gender has come out with some remedies in regards to the COVID-19 effects, because we have a number of children that have been subjected to torture. We have so many women and men that have been subjected to torture. I'm talking about domestic violence. Has the Ministry of Gender come out with some remedies to that?
Well,
I stand to be corrected if there is any.
The only solution is to arrest the people or those who are victimizing others is the only solution right now. And that has always been the solution in Uganda, arresting the people who are victimizing others. And for now, that is an amicable solution, because if you look at what is happening in the country, there's not a lot they can do. The country has been locked down and they tried their best to deliver food where they fell short as well. So there's not a lot that they can do to protect the women and children from being beaten or killed by their husbands. Now, I call upon women who are being beaten or who are being harassed by their husbands. You have FIDA, you have all these women-oriented associations which are there to protect you. All you have to do is, if you feel like your life is in danger, go and report it. Now, this is the father to your kids, the person who brings bread at home, but if he's hurting you and he's hurting your kids, then he's not worth it. He's not worth being in your lives. He's not worth being in your babies' lives, because when he kills you, who will be there for your babies? Do you want your babies to be orphaned? When he hurts you, who will be there to provide for your kids? And who will protect your kids from this man who is hurting you and what says he won't hurt your kids? So I am calling upon you to be vigilant enough, even your neighbors to be vigilant on your behalf, to see that if your neighbor is being beaten by the husband, do something about it. Let's have a kind of community policing among each other to try and protect each other from such incidences that are happening. Now, I don't want to make it seem like only women are being beaten or being violated during this.
Some kind of torture.
Now, a lot of men are being subjected to torture because women, one, like I said, are nagging. Two, there are other women who beat Simon Chris. They beat men, and men don't want to come out because it cannot work for a man to come out and say, "Bankubiye waka." You cannot do that as a man. You know.
So there are lots of effects that have happened in this country. When you look at the level of drug abuse, it's on a rise. Butabika Hospital is flooded by now. And what is so saddening is that it's youth, students that are being admitted to Butabika because they have spent quite a number of months at home, so redundant, and the saying goes that a lazy mind is a devil's, I don't know whether it's an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So quite a number of students have been idle during this lockdown, and they've adopted quite a number of habits, including drug abuse. And that has attributed to the number of patients at Butabika Hospital. Not only that, I read of a story of a gentleman who committed suicide.
People burnt themselves.
People burnt themselves. Simply because one has a loan to pay, but there's no money. He lost a job. The family needs to feed. I will never forget of a story. It was just a month when Uganda was subjected to a lockdown, and a gentleman committed suicide because there was hardly nothing to feed his home. And one also stabbed the other because of 800 shillings. One contributed 500 shillings and the other contributed 300 shillings, and they bought a kilo of cassava flour. So one was mingling and the other one went outside. So on coming back, he found when the other one had already eaten the food. So out of that anger, he got a knife and stabbed a fellow. So these are some of the things that will never get off our minds. I want to still want to challenge the Ministry of Gender. Can they come out and maybe we need to empower several councillors. Many people are depressed. quite a number of people are depressed because of the COVID-19 effects.
Now, as we swiftly and reluctantly take our foot off this particular topic, would like to say take care of yourselves. And I mean, the COVID-19 situation is here, and that's why we do not want to call for another lockdown as the country, because it's a dangerous situation that has left a lot of effects that the country will have to deal with after this particular situation. We'll go for a break and we'll come back with the business hand with Genesis.
You're watching STV, Select for Fun.
Don't miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
bampita Dr. Franklin Mondo Mugisha wano ku STV biri ku machakera nange nga twogera ku nsonga ez'enjawulo engeri z'okwezimba mu ggwanga lyaffe engeri z'okuzimba gye tubeera gye tuva wategedde obwavu lwa kibuluma mikwano gy'abaavu baani otambula otya osula otya okusalawo okwo okw'obulamu kutandikira ku nfunayo emikwano gy'abagaga n'abaavu tusobola ogitegeera no ku STV tugenda kwogera ku nsonga z'abaslay queen tutambula tutya kukyusa omulembe gw'abawala baffe kubanga bafuuka babuvunaanyizibwa era nga bakozi nga banoonyi ba kikumi tugenda kwogera ku bakanyama bazimba batya emibiri y'omubiri bwe gulimu ssente oba bwe bulamu bwe twetaaga omukazi tasobola kuleka musajja w'emmotoka mukaaga mbu akwate 6 pack amufune mbu batambule naye wano ku STV Big Network. See ya.
Don't miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
olw'ogooto lwa waaka.
abalamuzi babagamba nti if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power temusibayo muntu n'omukutwiza. This is why Besigye is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire nawandika n'ekitabo kyange the role of witchcraft in the malicious society sapule njijjamu
noyingira esabo
katonda wa bujja nze katonda bw'obujja bw'oba olaga eri sapule twegitwala omusajja omubbi bamujja ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi ne bamujja ewuwe ewaka yabadde mu ttooyi naye tebamukiriza na tusanatayizi bamutadde buteesi mu piikaavu ba mu state house naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesize kiwi yayitiddeko yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
You're watching STV, Select for Fun.
Makanga, but today I'll be here with Genesis in the business hand. Now, before we go there, we've been discussing domestic violence and the effects of domestic violence on women. Now, before we go there, I'd like to tell women that the worst part of being okay is that okay is far from happy. But actually, when you find a way to deal with your challenges, then life takes you a little bit more smoothly. Now, when we look at what Jadea DeWalt says, she says healing is more about accepting the pain and finding a way to peacefully coexist with it. In the sea of life, pain is a tide that will ebb and weave occasionally. Now we need to learn how to let it wash over us without drowning in it, because our life does not have to end where the pain begins, but rather it is where we start to mend. Now, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. On that note, let me dive to Genesis to see what she has for us in the business hand. Hello, Genesis. How are you doing today?
I'm okay, Latifah. Good morning.
Good morning. You look amazing in white.
Oh, you always look beautiful too.
Oh, thank you. What do you have for us in the business hand today?
Today, I want us to talk about the impact of the export trade and the import trade on the economy of a country.
That will be an amazing discussion, given that now that we have COVID-19, we've been discussing about Buy Uganda and Build Uganda. But let's talk to you, and then we'll come back and have a little bit of discussion about that.
Okay, thank you, Latifah. Good morning and welcome to the show. I hope you have enjoyed Latifah and Chris take you through the morning show. Like I always said, these people are giving you an insight on everything happening around your community and literally around the world and the country in general. Today, as I've said, I want to talk about the impact of the export trade and import trade on the economy of a country. Now, first things first. If an economy relies more on imports, it means that importers are better off when the currencies are low, because the products are bought in foreign currencies. What do I mean? If Latifah is bringing in, let's say, matchboxes from Kenya, yeah, it means that she has to buy, she has to pay for the matchboxes in Kenya. And if she's paying for them in Kenya, she's not going to pay for them with Ugandan shillings. She's going to have to go to the Forex Bureau and buy Kenyan shillings, and then pay for the matchboxes in Kenya. I hope you now understand. Now, if an economy is relying more on export products, it means an exporter will gain more or benefit more if the currencies are high. Why? Let me go back to my example. If Latifah is exporting, let's say, maize to America, Latifah does not need to buy the dollar. America is going to pay Latifah in dollars, and when Latifah gets the dollars, she's going to go to the Forex Bureau and then sell the dollar to them to get the Ugandan shillings. I hope you understand me. So in a domestic economy, importers always benefit more when the currencies are lower, and exporters benefit more when the currencies are high. So where would you prefer to fall? Now, for those of you who are dealing in trade, that is importing and exporting products, let's take a look at the Forex rates today. The US dollar is buying at 3,669 shillings and selling at 3,679 Ugandan shillings. The pound is buying at 4,796 Ugandan shillings and selling at 4,809 shillings. The euro is at 4,335 and selling at 4,347. The Kenyan shillings is at 33 and selling at 34. The Tanzanian shilling is at 1.5 and still selling at 1.5. And lastly, the South African rand is at 216 and selling at 217. Let me take you back to studio with Latifah.
Well, thank you very much, Genesis. Now I understand why the President of the Republic of Uganda said we need to buy Uganda and build Uganda, create our own products and then export them. Genesis,
yes.
The COVID-19 situation, what has Uganda been doing more? More exports or more imports?
Latifah, that's a very good question. For the past 2 years, the main export in Uganda, actually last year, that was 2019, the main export in Uganda was coffee. I think it has been that for some time. And then this year, amazingly, the main export in Uganda is gold.
Impressive.
Very impressive, yeah.
Okay, so coffee has been put down in this COVID-19 situation, and now we're exporting a lot more gold.
But the question is how. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But it does not make much sense when the main export is gold and yet we have coffee in the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, but how does that affect the economy of the country? Because we've seen that our biggest contributor in the GDP has been coffee as an agricultural sector in Uganda, and now we are having gold. How does it affect the agricultural sector in the country?
Latifah, the economy of Uganda itself has been relying more on imports. We literally import everything from electronics to matchboxes. Something as small as a matchbox in Uganda, we are still importing it. And then we are importing sugar. When we have Kakira sugar, we have Lugazi sugar. So the country's economy has been relying mostly on imports, which is definitely not affecting, or is not, I beg your pardon, it's not favoring the economy of the country.
Well, thank you so much, Genesis. Again, we need to do a lot more exports than imports. Let's go for a break, and we'll be back with sports with Joko.
Watching STV, select for fun.
Don't miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
Olwogoto lwa waaka.
Abalamuzi babagamba nti if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power, temusibayo muntu n'omukutwiza. This is why Besigye is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire. Nawandika n'ekitabo kyange the role of which could have been a malicious society sapule njijjamu.
Noyingire sabo.
Katonda wa bujja. Nze Katonda w'obujja. Bw'oba olaga eri sapule twegitwala. Omusajja omubbi bamujja ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi ne bamujja ewuwe ewaka yabadde mu ttooyi naye tebamukiriza na tusanitize bamutadde butese mu piikaavu ba mu state house naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesize kiwi yayitiddeko yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
Bazagwe akyali ku first show abo bale kubanga okyatulaba kanyombere ka bya mizanyo mufune bya mizanyo gye bitambudde tugenda kubanga tukwake mu kwebyo gwe bitambudde bisigalo jja kubanga ofuna kusazi kubera 5 oluvannyuma okuba nti first show bwenabanga ewede program enadda ku mujjo kubanga ofuna gye bayita ekintabuli ky'ebya mizanyo wenyo okutandikira yemvuka gwe bayita Salim Jamal mu myaka gya 25 muvubuka ono Samina mu club gye bayita El Ahal mu gwanga eri vodde n'abeera nti bw'atyo agitutte mu mbuga kilabu gyasambira eno era ng'obuzibu buvudde kubeera nti amaze akabanga nga tafuna musaala gwe okuva mu kilabu El Ahly gyasambira. Salim Jamal yava mu kilabu Express FC yagisambirako anagenda mu kilabu ya KCCA mwe yava okuba nti agenda
Sudan okubanga asambira omupiira era nga kyamaze okuba kikakasibwa nti Salim Jamal mu clubs ezimu ziyasambira Express, KJT, KCCA n'agenda mu club yebayita El Malik mu ggwanga lya Sudan oluvannyuma gyava okubanga egata club eno gye bayita El Ahl. Salim Jamal emu ku ebyo muyinza okuba nti oyogerako n'okuba nti otegera biki ebigenda mu maaso kwe kubeera nti club eno gyabasobola okuba nga abeegattako emyaka 42 gyali amaze ngali wali mu ggwanga erya Sudan gyabaddeyo okuba nga akwata omupiira n'okuba nti agenda mu maaso era nga kimaze okuba nga kikakasibwa nti okusinziira ku mpisibwa eyisiddwamu mu kiseera kino kwe kubeera nti tasobodde okuba nga afuna kye bayita essente okuba nga asasula omusaala gwe n'okuba nga afuna ebyo biki byeyeetaaga. So nga ate bwe tugendako wali eri mu club eya AS Villa n'agamba lwe si malungi okuva eri omuvuga gwe bayita Emmanuel Kaliowa Emmanuel avuddeyo okubeera nti munange atwala tiimu eno eya AS Villa mu mbuga eza omupiira okulaba nti asasulwa ssente ze. Kaliowa Emmanuel abanja obukadde buli 11.7 club ya AS Villa oluvannyuma okuba nti amaze ebbanga eriwerako nga tasasulwa ssente ze era nga bwe kityo abakungu okuva eri mu kibiina ekidukanya omuzannyo gw'omupiira abafufa bawadde club ya AS Villa ennaku 30 kubanga ekola ekisoboka kyonna okusasula omuvubuka ono obukadde bwe 11.7 ze balina okuba nga bamuwa. Wabula ekyenjawulo ekirukwe kuba nti AS Villa ono si ye muzannyi asoose. Charles Lwanga mu club ya AS Villa okuvaayo yali ababanja obukadde bwali 7 era byagenda mu mbuga bwete AS Villa nemusasula oluvannyuma era nga emuta n'agenda yeegata club gyasambira omupiira. Njagala kumaliza n'omukulu gwe bayita Tito Okello omuvubuka ono yali mu club ya Vipers yavuddeyo n'agenda mu ggwanga erya Kenya mu club gye bayita Gor Mahia era nga yamaze okuba nti assa omukono ku ndagaano mu club ya Gor Mahia. Tito Okello bamujjukira nnyo okubeera nti omu ku abo abasambi ne mu club ya Vipers era nga ekyenjawulo ekiriwo kyekyokubeera nti nno asobola okuba nga ayina ebimu ku ebyo byakola n'okuba nti ayamba club ya Gor Mahia. Si asoose okuyamba club ya Gor Mahia wabula abavubuka abamu ku abo abazze basamba club ya Gor Mahia bannayuganda be tuyinza okwogerako okuviirira ku mugenzi David Oti yaliko omusambi wa club ya Gor Mahia David Oti, omulala bamuyita Jimmy Bagaya, omulala gwe bayita Godfrey Walusimbi bajja Jawal, ate nga omulala bamuyitanga Daniel Muzeyi Senunkuuma ali mu club kati ya Vipers wano, Khalid Aucho, Shafik Batambuze, Elisa Sekisambu, Hashim Sempala, Juma Balinya amu kwabo avubuka abadde basambira club ya Gor Mahia. Wabula club mu ggwanga lya Kenya ewobanye ekitiibwa era ezimu ku ezo clubs ezakawangula ebikopo ebya League ya Kenya emirundi 18 ate nga yemu ku club gy'oyinza okugamba eri kumbiranye ekola ennyo wakati waayo nga waliwo olutalo ne club ya AS Leopards basobola okuba nga batambuza ebintu bwe bityo. N'olw'ensonga eyo njagala kukomekereza wano akanyumiro kaffe mbere nga nkuzaayo oluvannyuma program yaffe ejja kuba nga etambula ejja kuba nga egenda wano ku STV.
Again, and thank you so much for joining us, those that have just done that. However, you've joined at the time when we are going to be saying bye-bye to you, and I do welcome you back from the sports updates, and that's who we are on the first show, because we do inform you with current affairs, we do give you the sports you need, as well as the foreign exchange. Mwabagala okukyusa sente ebena tubikuwa obuyagala kusuubula maybe from Japan, any other country, wetaaga okumanya rates za dollar comparing ku Ugandan shillings zimiridde zitya. Genesis abeerawo okuwa that kind of information. However, before we say bye-bye to you, Latifah, what was the highlight of the show?
Domestic violence for me was the highlight, and it will still remain the highlight for me, because for us to talk about it is what every other person needs to do.
Yeah.
We need to bring it out for people to understand that there's domestic violence, and the question is, how do we deal with it as Ugandans? How do we help women cope with domestic violence, and how do we help them survive domestic violence?
Well, my name is Simon Chris Makanga, and may the good Lord of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob be with you, not until we meet once again tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, for yet another edition of the Fight Show. But coming up is face-to-face with Paj Bashir Mbazira. Eranga agenda kubachaza Sin Katongole eyakawangula ekifo ky'aba Vice Chairperson Central Executive Committee mu kibiina kya NRM. For now, I am not around.
Well, for those who have been watching us, my name is Latifah Hamid. And again, I'd like to thank JB Collections for dressing me. For those who want to talk to him, his number is 0758 597 322. That's 0758 597 322. And the makeup was by Brush by Burns. I'd like to say goodbye and thank you for being part of the show. Husna Feti, Mansour, and Dawn, Adams, Mayambala, Jeff, and Danny, and the team that has been behind there would like to say thank you for the good job. Have yourself an amazing day. We'll catch you tomorrow on another show.